Peace and blessings to my empowerment tribe. Today we're talking about something that can literally change your life. We're talking about being coachable. Now, I know that might sound like some trendy term that adults or teachers throw around, but this is actually important for your success, not just in school, but with sports, with relationships, and pretty much everything in your life. Whether you realize it or not, every single day, someone is trying to coach you. Your parents, your teachers, your friends, even a random person on TikTok is giving life advice. The question is, are you actually listening or are you shutting them out? First, what exactly does coachable mean? Simply put, coachable means that you're open to feedback and willing to make changes based on what you learn from that feedback. It's having the mindset that you don't know everything, and that's okay. Think about your favorite athlete or YouTuber or TikToker. Even at the top of their game, they still have coaches, mentors, or advisors, people that help them to improve, give them new insight. That's because coachable people understand there's always room to grow, no matter what you've done in the past and no matter what you know. Now, here's what a coachable person looks like in action. First, they actually listen when someone's giving them advice, not just waiting for their turn to talk, but really hearing what the other person is saying. Second, they ask questions. Instead of getting defensive, they're curious. They want to know more. They may say things like, "Can you explain that differently?" Or, "What would you do in my situation?" Third, they try new approaches instead of just doing what feels comfortable. They understand that a lot of times our growth occurs outside of our comfort zone. Fourth, they are not only open to learning and improving themselves, they consistently read, watch videos, and seek out qualified people to learn from. And finally, they can handle criticism without taking it personally. They separate their ego from the feedback and focus on what they can learn. The opposite of this, well, that's the person that always has an excuse ready, who thinks they already know everything, and that's constantly talking over or tit-for-tatting the person that's trying to give really good advice, or who gets angry whenever someone suggests maybe they try something different. Now let's talk about why being coachable is so important. The first big reason is that it opens you up to new ideas, experiences, and methods you never would have tried on your own. Your brain is like an echo chamber. You tend to think the same thoughts, use the same approaches, and see the world kind of through your own limited perspective. That's just human nature. But when you're a coachable person, you're essentially learning from other people's brains and experiences. Let's say you're struggling with math. You keep using the same study method that isn't working, you're getting frustrated, and your grades are suffering. A coachable person might ask their teacher, "Excuse me, what study methods do you think work best for me?" Or you might actually try the technique that your friend suggests, right? An uncoachable person, on the other hand, they'll keep banging their head against the wall, using the same failed approach, and continue failing in math, convinced that everybody else just doesn't get it, or "I'm just naturally bad at math." I've seen this play out as a teacher so many times. The students who are willing to try new study techniques, different ways of organizing their time, or even just different ways of thinking, they're the ones who level up. And I'll tell you something else. Often the people most in need of coaching are the very people who most resist it. That's the type of person you do not want to be. The second reason to be coachable is that it helps you identify and eliminate the things you're doing that are actually hurting your progress, getting in the way of your own success and development. Here's the thing. We all have blind spots. There are things we do that we think are helpful, but may actually not be helpful. These counterproductive habits are kind of like having a rock in your shoe, a pebble, while you're trying to run a marathon. You might get through the marathon, you might finish it, but imagine how much more comfortable and easier it would have been if you just would have took the pebble out your sneaker. A coach, whether that's a teacher, parent, friend, or an actual coach, can see patterns often that you can't see yourself. The third major benefit of being coachable is that you get to learn from other people's mistakes and experiences without having to make those mistakes yourself. This saves you tons of time, effort, and sometimes money. Every adult in your life has already been through some level of education. They've dealt with friendship drama. They've made career decisions. They've handled or mishandled money, right? And they've navigated relationships. They've made their mistakes. They've hopefully learned some lessons. And they've figured out to some degree what works and what doesn't work. So when someone older tells you, hey, if I were you, I wouldn't do that because when I did it or when so-and-so did it, they had a really negative outcome. You can be the coachable type and think, wow, that's good to know. I'm going to keep that in mind. Or you can be the stubborn, I know it all, uncoachable type and think, well, that's you. I'm different. I'm going to figure it out. Sure, sometimes you do need to learn things the hard way. But why learn everything the hard way when you could skip some of the most painful lessons in life simply by listening? Coachable people are constantly collecting wisdom from other people's experiences, while the uncoachable types insist on making every single mistake personally. Now, guess what type of person is more likely to accomplish important things and live a fulfilling life? You take a wild guess. Now, what happens if you're not coachable? What are the real life consequences? Well, first of all, you're going to stagnate. You're going to stay just at the level you're on because you're not opening to the type of input that would help you improve and do better. Your friends will start passing you by, your grades won't improve, and your skills won't develop, and you'll keep making the same mistakes. Second, you isolate yourself. People stop offering help because they know you're just going to argue with them or ignore their advice anyway. Friends may stop sharing advice or warnings, and mentors may stop investing their time and wisdom in you. Third, you waste a lot of time and energy. Instead of learning efficient methods, successful methods from people who've demonstrated they know what they're talking about, you insist on reinventing the wheel every time. You make the same mistakes. And finally, you develop a reputation as someone who's difficult to work with. Now, in this world, when it comes to group projects, job interviews, sports teams, or any type of situation where you have to work with other people, people want to work with people who are coachable, not argumentative, not combative. They want teammates who can adapt, learn, and improve so the team can do better together, not people who close their ears and minds off to good advice. So let's conclude this. Being coachable does not mean you're weak. It does not mean also that you should just do whatever people tell you to do. All advice is not good advice, family. It means you're smart enough to recognize that sometimes other people might have valuable insights that you can benefit from. The most successful people I know personally, whether they're top students, amazing artists, great athletes, or successful entrepreneurs, they all share this trait. They're constantly learning. They're constantly asking questions. They're leaving themselves constantly open to feedback. So here's my challenge for you. This week, actively look for opportunities to be coached. Don't sit around and wait for people to come to you. Ask someone you respect for advice on something you're struggling with. When someone gives you that feedback, instead of getting upset or defensive or going tit for tat or trying to overtalk them, ask a follow-up question. Why do you say that? What would you suggest? What do you think I should do differently? Try one new approach that someone suggests. Even if it's uncomfortable, even if you haven't tried this method or approach before. And trust me, your future self will absolutely thank you for it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again in the next empowerment video. Peace and blessings.